So, all right. So before we go to chapter 17, let's go back to some areas where we saw the beast before. One of them is Revelation 13, obviously. We've seen the beast before. And so let's take a look back at that more closely than we did before. And we might have touched on some things, but I just want to make sure we're getting these details that the Bible shows us. There's a reason, for example, if you recall, we saw a beast in, let's go to chapter 12, actually, because that's the first time it said the word dragon, and we need to see that there. Revelation chapter 12. So that's verse 10, right? So let's start at Revelation chapter 12, and let's start at verse 3 and 4. Now watch the description because there's no coincidence, okay? So here, Revelation 12, 3 and 4. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. So no matter what we going forward, notice how this dragon looks. It's red. It has 7 heads. It has 10 horns, and there's crowns on his heads. A crown is indicating some kind of royalty, right? Or kingdom or king or something like that. So it's got a crown on the heads. There's 7 heads, and it's red. Okay. Then it says in verse 4, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them into the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, and which was ready to be delivered for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So now this same beast wants to kill the baby that the woman is pregnant with. Okay, and we see what it looks like, and we see what is his aim: to kill the baby. Right. Everybody got that? Right. So the aim of this big beast here, this 7-headed one, is to kill the baby. All right. Now it called it a dragon, and it said his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven. And we look at Isaiah chapter 9. And again, I always try to implore y'all, read your Bible, pray and read your Bible, because that's how you will get answers. And it's only by the Spirit of the Most High that I remember I first met a guy years ago. He can quote you chapter and verse of things, and they said it's because he was an engineer and he knew numbers. And I said, man, I wish I could do that. But you know what? After reading the Bible so many times, it comes to you. Mm-hmm. And it's not because he was an engineer. It's because he was reading it. And that's the same with all of us. It's the same with all of us. Okay, so chapter 9 of Isaiah, from verse 12 to verse 15. Actually, from verse 12 to verse 6, from verse 13, 14, 15, and 16. I'm sorry. 13, 14, 15, and 16 of Isaiah chapter 9. For the people turneth not unto him that smiteth them, neither do they seek Yahweh of hosts. Therefore Yahweh will cut off from Israel head and tail, branch and rust in one day. The ancient and honorable, he is the head. And the prophet that speaketh lies, he is the tail. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed. So when you see head and tail, you have a leader and you have lies. A leader that's lying to you. So the dragon had 7 heads. They were leading, but then he had a tail that drew a third part of the stars of heaven. So he lies from heaven, caused a third of the inhabitants to fall out of heaven. And they were cast to the earth. Okay, so now back to Revelation. And so we compare what we just read about that beast to the beast that's introduced to us in chapter 13. So here you're going to have another beast, and it's going to be very similar, but there's differences. So I want you to tell me, when you see it, what are the differences between the two beasts? Okay, so Revelation 13, verse 1 and 2. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. I don't think it's hard for me to say, and you all see that there were 7 heads and 10 horns, right? Right. Okay, so we know that they have that in common. They both had 7 heads and 10 horns. What are the differences? Their crowns, whereas before there were 7 crowns on his heads. But this time the heads did not have crowns. The crowns were on the horns, and it was 10 of them. What else?
The dragon gave him seed in the
So the first one was the dragon. The Bible says this one, the dragon gave power, seat, and authority. So the dragon's involved. So we know that the dragon wanted to kill the baby. So now this same dragon is now involved in creating this second beast that looks very much like the first, except the crowns are different. Okay.
And blasphemy.
Names of blasphemy was written on it.
Right.
Where was it written though? It said on his heads.
On his head.
On his heads. So the 7 heads were names of blasphemy. Well, we need to understand. What is blasphemy? You're going against the Most High. That's right. Remember what the scribes and Pharisees said to Messiah? He's committing blasphemy because he's making himself into a God.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Right.
They said, who can forgive sins but God only? Is this blasphemy? This man's saying he can forgive sins. So blasphemy involves something trying to make itself in the place of the Creator.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a blasphemy. So, all right. So now the 7 heads we know represent points of blasphemy, trying to be the Creator or introduce itself as the Creator. So here, the dragon lied to a third of the heaven's inhabitants, tricked them, was trying to kill the baby, and now create a very similar entity to itself, right? And the entity now looks like it, except it has crowns on horns. Now, horns, what do horns represent? Power. That's right. Horns are always points of power. David said that the Most High is my horn and my salvation. That's power. Okay, he's my power. He's my high tower, he said. So horns are always representing power. So this thing has power. How much power does it have? What does it say? Well, not in those first 2. Let's read the 3rd verse. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And what? So how much power does this thing have? It's worldwide, right? All the world wondered after the beast.
Right.
Okay, so what do we know so far? Let's stop here and say, what do we know about this beast? I know I'm taking that time, but I want to make sure we get every point. So there's a beast. It's led by a dragon. At first, it was the dragon. And it's trying to kill the baby that the woman was having. Okay, it's trying to kill that child. And then it came up and created another thing in its own image. And it shows some animals. And then it said all the world wonders after it, and it deceives. So now apparently the earth is being deceived so that all the world is wondering, which is why I can confidently say before we come to any knowledge of truth, all of us were deceived.
That's right.
We're not coming from a place of light. All of us, I don't care how you were raised, you were deceived because we're born into a world. You can't control where you're born or what the world looks like when you're born. You can't control what color you are when you're born or who your 2 parents are. You're just born.
That's right.
So you're born into a system that you had no control over. And the system, as we're reading, was already created for the earth before they were born. Everybody got that so far?
Right.
Okay, so now we're born into this system. We had no power into it, but yet we want to be delivered, right? We should be, right? We want to be delivered from this system, but we're in the system. And we're deceived in the system. So the first thing that the Messiah told his disciples is, see that you be not deceived. Many shall come in my name saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. So you want to make sure you're not among, or you don't stay among the deceived. Now, if the whole world is deceived and this dragon has the whole world chasing it and you're not deceived, you would by nature be in the minority. Does that make sense? You're not going to be in the majority. If the earth is deceived and you're in the system that's deception and you're not with it, you're in the minority. Well, let me ask you a very simple question, which I've asked before. Do you think that the world loves truth?
No.
Does the media love truth? The politicians love truth?
No.
Okay, so the billionaires become billionaires because they're so honest and they work so hard and they just, they're in truth. Right, no. See, so you understand now, this world, the Bible says the rulers of the darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places, this rules the earth. And I tell people, you want to see it in plain sight, look at the Statue of Liberty, look at the Pentagon, look at the Washington Monument, which reminds you of something else. And you see all that and you know there's something wrong, but you can't put your finger on what it is because the devil will hide it
Right.
in plain sight.
Plain sight.
Okay, now we understand he does that. Okay, now this we haven't even touched Revelation 17 yet, but we're getting the backdrop here. So now one more backdrop. Did you have a
Can I
question?
ask you a question?
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if this is a stupid question.
No.
The baby represents.
Oh, well, let's wait before wait. Let's find out what the baby represents. So Revelation chapter 12, and let's start from verse 1. Because she's this woman, we gotta find out who her mother is. There's a mother and there's a child, right? Okay, so there's a mama and baby. Usually that's the case, right? If somebody's having a baby, it's usually a mama, right? So there's a mama and baby. So let's find out who this is. Revelation chapter 12, let's read verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Ah, this is a woman. She's clothed with the sun. Can I say she's clothed with light?
Yeah.
Right? Now, what does the Bible say with respect to us and light?
There's no darkness in it.
That's right. Yah is light. And in him there's what?
No.
No darkness at all. So this woman is clothed with light from the sun. Did the sun come from the devil?
No.
So he's clothed from something that the Most High created.
That's right.
She has a crown with a number. Bible has numbers.
Yeah.
This one is 12.
Right.
All right, what does 12 come? What do you when you think of 12? All
Right.
right, so there's 12 tribes,
That's
there's
right.
12 apostles. So this has to do with the Most High. So this woman is representing his people.
Yeah.
And she's having a baby. So his people is represented as having a baby. Let's find out who the baby is. So now we know the dragon wanted to kill the baby, but let's look at verse 5 because she brought the baby forth, right? Verse 5. And she brought forth who? A man child. So she brought a male baby forth. And what was about that man child? Who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. So Israel is a nation of people that brought forth a baby. So a baby was born in Israel, and that baby was destined to rule the earth and be caught up to the Father.
Right.
Who could that be?
Messiah.
So there's only one that fits the description. And this is a theme in the Bible. The Bible never says Catholic Church.
Right.
It never says that. But what does it say? It says there's this religious power out of Rome led by one man.
Yeah.
And it's a combination of religion and government. So you got to think, okay, how many religions come out of Rome that's led by one man that is worldwide in power and influence? There's only one. All right, so it's the Catholic Church. Then it says there's this people, they look like Africans or Egyptians, right? So they're melanated. They were placed in ships on slaves with chains around their neck. And then the Europeans brought them over Ethiopia and out of their country.
Yeah.
How many people fit that description? There's only one.
Yeah.
They would be a byword among the nations. Nobody would like them. They'd be the bottom and not the top. And they look like Egyptians.
Yeah.
Did you have your? Oh, sorry, okay. You just tested me. Yes, all right.
At
At least you're not making. So, all right. So that's how the Bible describes stuff. So now, even the term like Christianity is not in the Bible.
No.
So you will not find people say, "Oh, I found Christian." Okay, you found Christian, but is Christian Christianity?
No.
What's the difference?
Who was used as an epithet in the Bible.
Yeah, but what's Christianity?
Religion.
A religion.
One of them is a person.
Mm.
So the implication is you're following a Christ
Right.
versus following a religion.
Right.
And in fact, they call Christ another term in this regard. They call him the way.
Yeah.
So you're a follower of this way, which is the Messiah, versus being a follower of a religious system. That's two different things. See, so you can be in a religion or you can be in a. So what we're doing, we're trying to follow the Creator, who's the Father of Messiah, and Messiah leads us to Him. We don't have a religion. It's not a system. It's a spirit. It's a Creator. See, so that's what we're seeking to follow. Somebody says, "Well, what religion are you in?" Well, because the Bible says proper religion is this: to visit the fatherless and the widows and keep yourself unspotted from the world. Okay, we're trying to do that. but it's not a religious system that we're in. That's a confusion. And that's what creates part of the confusion, because people, and I know myself, I'd read the Bible, I thought of a white man named Jesus. And I would see these pictures and I would think, oh, that's Jesus. And I know now that's not him. That's an imposter, because he didn't look like that. And then we know that, as we talked about yesterday, the letter J didn't come into the alphabet until the 17th century. So that means in the first century, there was no such thing as a letter J. So his name could not be Jesus. Okay, then you got to find out what was his name. So if you go back in and you start looking at what was the original for Jesus, you will see the word Jesus. So what's his name? Jesus? So how do you know? Well, because Greeks made Zeus. Zeus is a Greek god. So what did the Hebrews call Messiah? Yeah, Yahushua. And in fact, when you look up the word Messiah, it appears in the book of Daniel. And the word Mashiach is there. So Mashiach is there. And then you look up the word in the book of Hebrews for the Messiah. They use this other term, Joshua. So you got to say, okay, what was Joshua's original name? And Moses said, it's called Hosea. That's the book called Hosea. His name was Hosea. And Moses changed his name to, what did he say? Hosea. That he changed his name to that. So you have to do a little bit of reading. You can't just take things at face value, and you have to search these scriptures to know. And it's really, the blessing is you don't search this one, and this enough, but it's in here. You just got to search it out for yourself. You got to look at it for yourself. Once you find it, then you find it. Like once I saw it, I can't unsee it. Once I saw it. So, okay. So now we got, did I answer your questions? Did we answer that? Okay. Now the woman is Israel. The baby of the woman is the Messiah. So Israel had the Messiah. Now, in the rest of chapter 12, we see the dragon trying to kill the woman. Couldn't get the baby, but tried to kill the woman. That is why we are catching hell the way we're catching it. We are representing the woman. So the reason, and I was telling several people, we went to New York to see some relatives, and my son-in-law is a tall, dark-skinned brother. I went into a store, the shop owner didn't blink, can I help you with blah? When Brent came in, he looked twice. He said, what do you want? And the whole game changed. And I had to say, no, he's with me. And he said, oh, okay, like that. And he was like a Muslim dude from the Middle East somewhere, but he caught how America looks at.
That's right. That's right.
And why? Why? Because the spirit reminds them of the man-child.
Right.
We're representing a threat to the kingdom just by existing.
That's right.
It's not anything you did. You just exist.
That's right.
Because you exist, you're a problem. Okay? And that's why I told people in Colombia, just like I tell people here, I said, I speak English because my slave master was English. And my name is English. You speak Spanish because your slave master was Spanish. And he taught you to speak Spanish. And he gave you his name, whatever your Spanish name is. And oh boy, some people had a problem with that. I can't believe he was slave. Oh, yeah, he was. Otherwise, you wouldn't be speaking. I said, you come from Indians. Indians didn't speak Spanish. Incas, Aztecs, they didn't speak no Spanish. Mayans, that wasn't their language. Just like the Indians that was here when the Europeans came in, they didn't speak no English. That was it. So we're all been colonized on this planet. There is no secret, as if you look at the nations, okay, do the people of Africa, which is constantly talked about as the richest mineral continent on the planet, do they run the earth? And yet, when we have a cell phone or a computer or anything, a lot of those things come from Africa. But the people of Africa don't run that. Okay, there's a lot of oil in Venezuela, but Venezuela is poor. Why are they poor if they got all this oil? Who's taking their oil? Oh, it's not us. So then you got to look at it and say, okay, is Jeff Bezos black? Is he Spanish? I mean, who is he? He's a billionaire, right? Oh, what does he represent? You say Europeans or? And why do we have to be called African Americans, but they can't be called European Americans? So you got white and you got, what are you, Spanish American, Latin? What are you? You got to tell them because you got to be categorized, right? You can't just say American. You gotta be from something. I'm Chinese American. Oh, okay. But the white person just say, I'm white. That's it.
That's it.
So that tells you who the dominant class is right now on the planet. Okay, every place you go is dominated by them. So that's prophesied because that's what the Bible shows is going to be at the end. It's a dominant European class. Okay, so that's where we're at. They control the economics, the politics, the religions, everything. So if you are stepping out of that system, first thing you are doing is stepping out of its religion. That's the thing you have control. You cannot step out of the banking system.
No.
You got to go to a bank. They control that. Okay. You can step out of their religious system because you can refuse to attend their religion. They don't like that though. Why don't you go to church? How come you ain't been at church? How come we ain't seen you? You don't love Jesus no more? What's wrong with you? And you're gonna get more of that. It's coming, more of that is coming. Okay. Now, Daniel. So we saw in Revelation 13, this beast. It was three different beasts: a leopard, a bear, and a lion. But they were all one beast. They had parts of different animals, but they weren't different beasts. So now when you go to Daniel chapter 7, you'll see these animals again. And if you recall, in Daniel chapter 2, when Nebuchadnezzar had the dream of the statue, how many statues was there?
One.
Oh, so there was one statue. Was it all gold?
No.
No, there was different. It was different metals, but they made up one statue. And when it got hit in the feet, it was all destroyed. So you have different parts of the same system. Okay, so now when we look at Daniel chapter 7, we'll see those same beasts. Now, when we put it together, you understand, even though there's three different beasts, well, there's four really, we'll see, but they're one system, which is shown in Revelation 13. So you see this beast come up out of the ocean, and it's got all of these parts, but it's one beast. And there's also one dragon. Everybody get that? There's not 10 dragons, there's one. And there's one beast. Okay. There's also one Father.
Amen.
And there's one Messiah, right?
Amen.
You see that? So it's really between them. We're in the middle of it, though.
Yeah.
Okay? We're in the middle of it. So here we go. Daniel chapter 7, beginning at verse 4, read verse 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand upon the feet as a man. And a man's heart was given unto it. I could go a little deeper on that, but we won't need to. I just want y'all to see the animals here, okay? Verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second, like unto a bear, and it raised itself up on one side and had three ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. And after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. So now you got 4 beasts. Let's say a lion, you had a bear, you had a leopard. But then there's this 4th one. And the 4th one had 10 horns. So now, when we add up all of the heads, you have the lion, you got the bear, but then you got the leopard, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you got the last one. How many heads is that?
7.
Did we see 7 heads before?
Yeah.
So it's not the first time. And did we see a lion, a leopard, and a bear before? Revelation 13. So this is the same beast.
Right.
Okay. Then this 4th one didn't describe, but it had 10 horns. Did we see 10 horns before?
Yes.
We did. Now this is interesting. What you see here is 10 horns. When we went to chapter 12, you saw 7.
Mhm.
What happened? Why was there only? Then when you get back to 13, there's 10 again. So you first had 10 at first, but then somehow 3 lost, and then you had 7. But then you get back to 13, it's 10 again. So something took place. And I always wonder, why is that? It took me a while to figure it out, because again, it took me years just to understand to read the Bible. Because I used to only read what my church showed me to read,
That's right.
or what they quoted me. I didn't really read it. When I started reading it, I started seeing things differently because now I'm reading it. So that question came on my mind. Probably, Brother Ricky, you would see that too. Why is this one 7 and this one 10? So Daniel 7 tells us, watch this. Verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. So what happened to 3? They were plucked up by this little horn. And this little horn represented a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Not great in a positive way. In other words, he popping off. And it said, and we read 13, the word blasphemy was used. So what would he be doing? He trying to act like he is the Holy Father, like he is the Most High, and he's trying to be in front of the Most High, before him. Okay, so you get a picture. But see how we had to put it all together from different scriptures to get to this point? So now, Daniel chapter 8, again, it's going to bring up this little horn again. And it's going to tell you what this little horn represents. Okay. Daniel chapter 8 is, again, tells you a lot about the little horn. In fact, it focuses on the little horn. It doesn't even focus on the 10 horns. It goes right to the little horn and it starts telling you what it's about. Okay. So Daniel chapter 8. Let's look at verse 9. Daniel 8, verse 9. What does it say in Daniel chapter 8, verse 9? And out of one of them came forth what? A little what? A little horn. And it waxed exceeding great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. So there was this little horn that became great. We talked about it in Daniel. A little horn plucked up 3 other ones. So this is the same little horn. Okay. Verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. Did we read about anything falling out of heaven already?
Yes.
See how you put it together? That was Revelation 12. Here we back in Daniel, and you seeing stars being cast out. And it said it cast some of them to the ground, stamped on them. Wasn't even nice at all. Okay, verse 11. Yea, he magnified himself to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary cast down. Wait, let's stop here. We're talking about the place of Creator's sanctuary. Before we knew it was in the third heaven, it was someplace else. Where was it? It was in Jerusalem. Was it destroyed? So that's what it said. It said, cast down the truth to the ground and the practice and prosper. And it said it cast down, his sanctuary was cast down. And it said he magnified himself. Again, we talked about blasphemy. So this entity is trying to take the place of the Creator. And it's trying to take the place of the Creator in the whole world's eyes. Because the world followed it. Does that make sense? So the whole earth is following it. It's trying to take the place of the Creator and cast the truth to the ground. Oh, so now Pilate asked a question, which I will ask y'all now. What is truth? Didn't Pilate ask beside that question? What is truth? What are you going to say? What is truth? Somebody said, cast the truth to the ground. What you say? What is your opinion about truth? What do you say truth is? Oh, the word. This Bible is truth. Okay, can you prove this to me? How you gonna prove it?
3 witnesses.
No. I don't believe none. What about the Quran? Why don't you read the Quran? How you gonna prove this book is above the Quran?
Spirit of the Father.
What father? You talking about? You mean Muhammad?
No.
See, I'm gonna act like them, so I want you. We found the Dead Sea Scrolls. They no father. What you gonna say?
It's my conviction.
See, that ends all argument. That ends all argument. You have to remember, you're baptized by the water and the Spirit. The conviction doesn't come from the water. Right. So why is this book truth? Because I'm convicted it's truth. Why are you convicted? Because of what it told me. What did it tell you? There's a Father, he's truth. He has a Son, he's truth. His word, he's truth. So that's why I say this is truth. Now, if it's true, what we just said, using the word, then anything that's claiming to be truth must be measured against this.
That's right. Measures.
So if I were to say a football field's 100 yards long, how can I prove that? I take a yardstick, I should be able to measure it 100 times, and it should be the length of that field, right? So if it's not, something's off, because the yardstick is truth. So here the word is truth. So somebody said, there's this Arab prophet, I don't need to talk to you. Right? I don't need to say nothing to you. My conviction is there ain't no Arab prophets. Oh, there's this white woman, she's a prophet in me. Oh, no. I can't talk to you. I don't know about no European prophet. I only know about a Hebrew prophet. That's his prophet. Why? Because my conviction is from this word. I can show you where it says that. And that's my conviction. If you want to read the Quran, that's your choice. You could do that. And again, that's the difference between a religion and a person that's following a God. A religion's going to try to convince you to join it. That's why Jehovah's Witnesses go knocking on your door. What are they trying to do? Just give you literature? What are they trying to do? They want you to join the Kingdom Hall. That's why we don't. We ain't trying to get you to join nothing. Either you want to follow the Creator or you don't. Either you receive a conviction or you don't. Either you in or you out. I ain't got to try to convince you. And look, have I ever said, sister, I need you to give me some money? This ministry would not exist except your faithful support. And we about the bottom all fall out. I need you to come up with some loot. I need me a new Bentley for the ministry. Right? So it's not about, and that's what I'm saying. Somebody would tell me, you say, well, you're supposed to really be a pastor. You're supposed to take money. No. If you would look realistically over the earth's atmosphere, can you say money has corrupted things? Has there been religious people getting rich off religion? Well, no, it's not about the Most High anymore then. It's business. Don't take it personal. It's just business. Put money in that plate. Right? Don't take it personal. It's just business. This is the creator's business. I need some money. So that's what I'm saying. But we take money off the table. Take money off the table. So now all of y'all paid to come here, right? Y'all paid to come here. That's what you paid for.
Right.
So you paid to come here. You didn't pay me because it ain't my money.
Right.
It's your money. See? So it's not like you're going to see my new Bentley out there that y'all paid for. No. Or I say, well, we got a building fund. We need a house for the Lord. It's going to cost $2 million. Because I'm expecting, 100,000 people to come. I don't want to be embarrassed. And everything I said, some pastor has said to somebody. And right now. And then now, it surprised me, 20 years ago, I seen him put ATM machines in the church. I said, dang, they ready ain't flame. Go hit that ATM and bring that money back up here. I mean, it's crazy, but see, that's an easy way to see a false prophet. Yeah. They start asking you, reaching in your pocket, a thief reaching in your pocket. Isn't that right? A thief got you. I remember a pastor told me, he said, this year there's some people that's going to reach deep in their pocket for me. They don't even know it yet. And I said, hey, they're going to be reaching deep in their pocket. And I said, he already knew that. Well, and that's why when I was being convicted to get into ministry, I didn't. Because I said, well, I wanted some money. And if I want money, I don't want to use the name of God to get me money. So I went and got all kinds of degrees and got all kinds of debt to get me money. And I realized I didn't need all that, right? But I wasn't trying to use the ministry to get money. Okay. There's some churches I've seen pay some bills for people and they do stuff like that. But why can't we do that anyway? You can see a neighbor, somebody struggling, you can help them. You don't need to have everybody know. Matter of fact, Messiah said nobody should know.
It's not just us saying that. I mean, money.
Yeah.
Talking about money. There's something in here. I don't know where it is, but it's about merchandise.
Right. Making merchandise of people.
Making merchandise.
Right.
Of you.
That's right. So that's what I'm saying. So to me, that was a really good sign to separate the truth from the false. So when I seen some of these camps, they got an initiation fee. You got to pay for the uniform And you know, and I remember one camp sent a whole group of people. They went to Egypt, and he just took the money and left them.
Wow.
Yep. They were from like Atlanta. He took all their money.
Mm.
They went to Egypt because the Lord said go, God said go, and then he was gone. And they were stuck to try to get back. Yeah. But see, money is really the root of all evil. So you gotta be really careful with what you're doing. And as I was telling some brothers, don't worry, you know, they'll bring up the book of Acts and everybody had all things common. It was the spirit that caused that to happen. It wasn't no disciple said, I need you to sell your land and give me your money. Nobody said that. They were convicted. Now, when it's time, you and I are going to receive a conviction. And we'll have to answer to our Creator on that conviction. But you'll know it's from Him, not from me or anybody telling you about money. So that's an easy thing to see through a lot of false prophets. Then there's another one. You got all these Bible versions out here. How you know which one is true? There's a lot of Bible versions. There's New International, there's New American Standard, there's New World Translation, there's New King James, there's King James. How do you know? How do you know which one is true? Well, I could tell you what I did. I prayed. And I said, I need to know if these are true, do I need all of them or which ones do I need? And I did search and I found out that this King James was mostly written by William Tyndale. And I found out he was tortured, burned at the stake and strangled. Okay, so he must have been doing something right. Right? They was trying to find homie. They caught him and they was trying to kill him and they killed him. So then I found out that this King James was almost done when they said finish it, because Tyndale never got a chance to finish it. So that's okay. Is there any other Bible that has that kind of background? No. All the other ones were made in somebody's laboratory by a bunch of scholars. So that bothered me. Then I started seeing a contradiction, like there's whole chapters that's in the King James that's not in other versions. Or there's whole verses missing. And you're like, why did they take? Then the kicker was the justification by faith. So I was like, okay, let me see these verses. Because that's what caught me, being able to overcome all your sin. What can be more important than that? So I said, okay, that's got to be in everything that's called the Bible. So sister said, well, you got to look at the hallelujah scriptures because they use the name, the real name. So I said, before I even saw that, I said, let me look at these scriptures. And they were all changed. I said, oh, shoot. Okay, that's off the table. And then my grandmother gave me a new King James Bible. It was all changed. All of those scriptures that I was using for justification by faith were either gone or changed. So I said, okay, that's off the table. So that was the easy thing, because to me, and that's my conviction, there's no more important doctrine in the Bible than to tell you how to overcome sin. If you can't overcome your sin, what's the point? You know, so if it's telling you how to do it, it's got to tell you. If it's a Bible, it's got to tell you. Then I looked at the Apocrypha. I took a whole year. It took me extra time to read this one because I'm looking at the Apocrypha. Because I told somebody it was no good. And he said, well, did you read it? I said, no. So you being a hypocrite. I said, oh, you're right. So I read it. And I was looking. There's no justification by faith in there. None. And then I'm looking for any prophecy. They were using certain of the sentences for prophecy. Yeah. And then there was stuff in there that's not in here. So I said, okay, we got three problems. There's no justification by faith. There's no prophecy. And then there's stuff that contradicts this book. So now we have a problem. It's not measuring up. There's interesting things in there, like it talks about what happened between the testaments. But what happened there, what messed me up with that was it uses the term Judaism. It uses it in the Maccabees. And I said, why? They said, we got to preserve Judaism. There were two problems I have with that. It's not man's job to preserve a religion. That's problem number one. And then Judaism, I said, where you get that from? So then I found out that the scribes and Pharisees went to Alexandria, Egypt, under the Greeks to learn Judaism. And that's where Herod learned Judaism. And that's why they call him a Jew. He was really an Amalekite. And he was a king, and he had a whole family of wealthy royalty. They were Amalekites. And they learned this religion called Judaism, which is what the Messiah was saying he nailed to his cross. He didn't nail the law to his cross. He nailed man's rules. to the cross, which is why they say he broke the Sabbath. He didn't. He didn't break the Sabbath because if he broke the Sabbath, he would have sinned, but he never sinned. So anything he did was right, right? So if they're telling him he's wrong, it's not him that was wrong. It was them that was wrong. Then they put him to death because he said he had a father that was going to make him a king, and he's not Caesar. So that was that, right? So that's how I told. I was praying and asking the Most High to guide me and I'm asking him to guide me in truth. What is the truth? I need to guide in truth. So then he guide me. And if you have any questions, you're going to get people coming at you with all of this. I had Jehovah's Witnesses telling me the Dead Sea Scrolls told us that the King James is no good. I said, where you get the Dead Sea Scrolls from? Who wrote that? We're telling you that's true. And I was waiting for her to say, by conviction. No. She said, nope, scientists found it. I said, we don't need to talk no more. Yeah, that's the end of that. Then I said, why y'all say you let people die for lack of a blood transfusion? Because the Bible said they don't eat blood. I said, but Jehovah's Witnesses eat pork. Man. He said, oh, but we could eat anything. I said, so which is it then? Either you can have the blood transfusion because you could eat anything, or you can't. They couldn't answer. And I said, we don't have to talk. That's it. So again, the Bible does not contradict itself. If it appears to be a contradiction, it's on me. It's not on the bird. Okay? It's like I'm assuming Akawan Banya would never lie to me. So we start off with that assumption. So I'm talking to you, and I'm not worried about a lie. Because I said, he's not going to lie to me. Well, I say that about the word. It's not going to lie to me. A liar contradicts himself. That's how you catch people in a lie. Where were you last night? I went to so-and-so. Where were you? No, I was over here. Well, where was you? Because now they gave you, especially kids, right? Then they gave you two different answers. Okay, there's a liar here somewhere. Okay, so there's a contradiction with a liar. A truth teller will never contradict themselves. And the Bible's a truth teller. So now, if there seems to be a contradiction, and that's what somebody told me, I don't read the King James, I read the Septuagint. Why? Because the King James contradicts, show me something. And he was trying to show me a verse. It wasn't a contradiction. It was changed in the Septuagint. The Septuagint is basically the Greek version, or all Greek version of the Bible. And there's a problem with that because what was the original language? So why would you have an all Greek version? And think that that's above the one that's coming from the Hebrew. So, okay. So I said, okay, we don't have to talk about it. You can cut off a lot of folks like that, though. But I'm saying you're saving yourself a lot of problems. Salespeople will talk to you about selling you something. And the more they talk, the more, y'all have problems checking in Thursday, right? That lady was wouldn't not. My wife said, what did she say? I said, she's just talking, man. I'm trying to. And y'all came in here to see it. And you see me in the phone. That woman was just, she thought the more words she said, the less angry I would be. I just wanted her to finish so I could try to get in. But, dang, so the more salesperson talk, it's the worse it is. So now Daniel shows us that there's this horn. This horn was going to cast the truth down. This horn is blasphemous. This horn is trying to take the place of the creator. It shows us something else here too, though. In same Daniel chapter 8, between verse 23 and 24. Actually, 23 and 25. In the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. And he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. And he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. This is a lot in here, man. It's a lot in here. So he's saying he shall have power, but not by his own power. What the Bible tells us about where the power come from? Right. The dragon gave the power. So we know this was not coming from themselves. Okay, so the dragon gave them the power. He said the transgressors are come to the full. In other words, it's time for them to be what they say, clustered. Right? It's come to the full. Then he said, through his policy, he caused craft to prosper, and he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Now, some of y'all understand what I'm about to say. Some of y'all may be hearing it for the first time. Was there ever a time in history when black people were kings? Did we have kingdoms? Did we have wealth? But now we don't have it anymore. Well, what happened? He shall destroy wonderfully. He said he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. There was a time when one of us would kill 10,000. Now one of us run from one, right? 10,000 of us run from one. But you see, he switched everything. So now at the end, we're at the bottom. We're supposed to be the head. We're at the tail. And that's cool because we're going to be the head again. But this is what it means when it says the mighty and the holy people. That's us. So now the system, let me ask you this. This is what what's the boy name? His name was he died. He was a comedian that became an activist. Dick Gregory. You remember him?
Right.
He said, okay. He said, so you have a black boy and you bring him to church to worship a white Jesus. And you're wondering why he's crazy. But that's the truth, right? So a lot of us, we don't have chains on our necks anymore, but we got chains right here. That's what Malcolm X said. He said, I was in prison. He said, some of y'all are still in prison right here. And religion is used more than anything to imprison us. More than anything. We think the problem is we don't have no money. That's not the problem. Our minds are in prison. We're in prison because we think we Dominican. We're in prison because we think we Jamaican. We're in prison. You're in prison. Who made up the word Dominican? Where'd that come from? Where Jamaican come from? Right. So they gave us names. That's your name. You're Jamaican and you're Dominican. That's who you are. They made you who you are. But Creator didn't make us no Dominican. He didn't make us no Jamaican either. He didn't even make us African. He made us Hebrew. Right? And the Bible says, again, I didn't make that word up. Did I make up the word Hebrew? Did I make up the word Israel? Well, I must be in a religion. I'm calling us Hebrew Israelites. What kind of religion are you? What kind of cult you in? Where you getting that from? Who gave you that name? Your father gave. How you know that? How do you know that?
He spoke.
Yo, you listening to that raw Hebrew? He's slick, man. He's slick. He got y'all going. He's using that mind control. See, but the devil will do something and then blame somebody else for doing it. That's how he does. That's why I say, read your Bible and pray so that your conviction does not come from me. It comes from here. Okay? So read for yourself and pray and ask for guidance. It ain't going to come like Google. It ain't like that. It's going to take you some time. It's like when somebody's trying to find gold in a cave or in the ocean, they don't just dive one time. They'll stay there for years. If somebody find a little bit, make them stay longer because there's gold there because they think some money's there. And y'all, have you ever been around a funeral and there's money involved? People change, man. People change a lot. It don't have to even be that much money, but they will fight over it, and they will stay with it. So now we're asking what the truth is. We're asking for the Creator to show us. He wants us to prove that we mean that. Do you really mean to stay with me? Or are you going to stay with me until your partner leaves? You've been lonely. I got your partner. Now, if I take the partner away, you going to stay with me? You grew up poor, but now you got food and shelter. I'm going to take it away. You going to stay with me? See? Joe, he said, Joe, I'm taking your money. I'm taking your property. I'm going to take your kids. Your wife's going to turn on you. You staying with me? See, that's what I'm saying. We all get tested. You're sitting here saying, I'm going to follow the Creator. And the devil's saying, we're going to see. We're going to see. Because the devil knows your weakness. We're going to see. And the Most High said, oh, you know their weakness? Go at it. Let's see. And now you're going to get tested. Are you staying? Because you're going to get tested. And that's why the Messiah said, there's seed that fall on good ground and there's seed that fall on shallow ground. They said, which ground are you on? Well, the test will tell you what ground you're on, man. Praise the Most High. So this one now, as we got, is a big system. It's made up of previous systems put together. It's one system, okay? The dragon gives it power and a seat and authority. The whole world is worshiping it, but it moves by stealth and craft. It's not moving openly. And notice it said, he shall magnify himself in his heart. And by peace destroy many. In other words, they walk up off the shore smiling at you. How you doing? Right. And all the while they want to kill you. All the while they want to kill you. They saw the Indians, how you doing? They brought their disease and they brought their $5 or whatever, and they came to take the whole thing, right? Put you in the corner and give you a casino and take the rest, right? They put you in the corner. Us, they ain't even give a casino to them. Say, now y'all ain't getting no reparation. Japanese, they get reparation. Ashkenazis, the Judaism, they get reparation. Y'all get the boot. You know, that's it. Well, that shows who we are. It shows who we are. Well, our reparations will come from the Father. And it's going to be greater than anything they could give us. They cannot pay us for what they did. And that's what Joel said. It said, you can't recompense me for what you did. I'm going to turn your recompense on your own head. What you give me my own gold for? Right? That's my gold. That's my silver that you're trying to give me. Right? So our Father owns everything. So he has everything set for us when it's time. Until that time, we'll wait on him. But he's given us the prophetic signs when it's coming to pass. That's why we're studying. So what did it say? So things that must shortly come to pass. And he's showing us these things. So now, let's go now to Revelation chapter 17. So a big thing in the book of Revelation that we have seen, and there's a lot to see, but we have covered in chapter 7 of Daniel and in Revelation 13 is these beasts come from somewhere. Where they come from? What you say? What is the sea? How you know that? That's right. That's right. Where in the Bible are you getting it though? No. Oh, you right. No, let me not tell you wrong. You right. This second time she didn't talk me something. She right. Well, 2 witnesses. Now y'all know that's right. Isaiah what? You right. Isaiah what? 60. That's right. Isaiah 60. He said, the forces of the sea shall come to thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come to thee. So the sea is representing the Gentile. Okay. So if you see anything coming up out of the sea, you already know it's coming from among the Gentiles. But in the book of Revelation, it's also coming up out the earth. So we know the sea is the Gentiles. What must the earth be? That's right. What does it say about the Messiah? He's as a root coming out of a dry ground. That's what it say, right? He's a root coming. So that already tell you who was here when they came here. Is that right? So they came here. Us was here. Yeah. And how do I know that? The Bible says it came out the ground. It didn't come out the ocean. It came out the ground. So they came and they took what was ours and they took over. And that's why Ezekiel said, what are you coming for? To discover something? And we know they like to discover stuff. Right? So that's what they did. They came and they discovered. He said, oh, you discovering towns without walls with no gates? That's what they did. Brothers sitting in teepees and they took them over. Took the land and everything. Always had that in mind. So we understand our enemies never want to help us. I don't care what president it is. It could be a black president, a woman president, a Spanish president. I don't care. The system wants to hurt you. And you have that understanding. And why is that important? Not that you need to protest the system, but you don't trust the system. Messiah didn't say anybody who Judas was. But the first day he saw him, he knew who he was. He said, have not I chosen you 12 and one of you is the devil? They didn't know what he was talking about, but he knew who he was talking about. See, so it's important that you recognize what's in front of you. When a woman's getting ready to be raped and killed, the guy's not coming scowling at her. He smells good. He dresses good. He smiles at you. He might even be handsome, but he's not there to help you. He's there to hurt you. And all our enemies, we don't trust them. Don't trust no politicians. Don't trust no church. Don't trust nothing but this word right here. If it's not measured by that, it ain't. Period. Again, y'all be asking me questions. And what do I tell you? What does the word say? What do you find in the word? What does it say? What are you asking me about? Where you find that? You got 3 witnesses? Somebody said, well, I think this is, okay, where's your 3 witnesses? And when they don't even know what I'm talking about, I said, come on, man. What are we dealing with? Are we trying to debate over your theory? I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do that. So find my 3 witnesses, and then we could talk about it. But don't come to me with your ideas. I don't care. Just tell me about your 3 witnesses. That's all that matters. The rest of it don't matter. So we're looking at the word. We look at Revelation 17. Now, as far as the sea, we already done seen 2 witnesses. Sister said Revelation, brother said Isaiah. In the mouth of what? 2 or 3 witnesses. Probably I could find a third if I worked hard enough, but I'm saying they're all there. We know this, but so the water. So watch this now. Revelation 17, beginning at verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Okay. This is one of the 7 angels that had the 7 vials of wrath. So he's now showing John. Let me show you how this started. Let me show you about this whore. Now, in the book of Revelation, we have seen 2 women. One of them is crowned with 12 stars. The other one's a whore. Can we say that these are 2 different types of women?
Yes.
Right? Is there a woman that's a hoe and there's a woman that's not?
Yeah.
Like, I was on X. I sometimes go in there. I try to be quiet, but sometimes I can't. So this woman put herself up, thought she was looking good, was fairly close. She says, do I look good for a date? I said, you look good for a hoe. And then you know how many people say, yes, right. And she didn't even understand what she was looking like. Because the world is telling her, this looks good. Right? How much skin as you show, the better you look. I'm not saying you need to dress like a Muslim and only show your eyes, but come on now. We don't need to see all your glory. That's for your man to see. Right? So that's what we're talking about. The world is being confused, and what's right is wrong and what's wrong is right. And we got to expect that. Don't be surprised. That's why the earth is deceived. Don't be surprised. So here he said, I'm going to show you this great whore. Obviously, this is not the birthing of the Messiah. This woman is not having the Messiah. Okay, well, who is this hoe? Let's see. Verse 2. What they used to call her? Who that thought? I was in DC. Somebody said, who that thought? I said, what's thought? They told me. I said, oh, shoot. I said, oh, shoot. I didn't know that. Okay, verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Let's stop here. Okay, again. What is fornication? What is fornication?
When a woman sleep with a man that's not her husband.
That's right. And she's sleeping with more than one.
Mm-hmm.
Like she might have had Tom last month, and this month is Dick. It's Mike. Excuse me. It's John, but it's somebody different.
Mm-hmm.
So she giving that stuff to some people, and a lot of times today she ain't even getting paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She might be left with a child, but she not, and then when they start going to the all kind of thing, I say, well, we used to say when the kids, they getting freaky deep now. Because they not only dealing with men, they dealing with women, they dealing with whoever they feel like dealing with. Everything. So the thing is that it's sex with somebody that's not holy. Right? Versus, again, the Bible considers fornication when you worship another God. Right? They use the same word. Idolatry is like fornication. So now, if you're worshiping a different God, that's fornication to the Most High. So you don't need to have sex with somebody. You need to connect to a God that's not yours. So now, if there's more than one God, is there? There's only one God? So how is he mentioning you worshiping another God then? Oh, so you need to not worship a false God. How would you know what a false God looks like? There you go. Hey, listen, there's only one creator. Right? We look up in the sky, only one thing did that. Or that sun burning on us, there's only one that put it there. They 2 that did it. So either somebody lying, right? And there's one person that did it. So you want to find out who did it. Well, we call that person the creator. He created it. So now, you got a religion that's not him. So I say, somebody described superstar to me. He's about 7 feet tall, right? He real light skinned. He played for the Knicks. And so I said, you ain't superstar. You ain't 7 feet. You got New York, but you ain't playing for the Knicks. Where the real superstar at? But we know he's the real one, right? But they misdescribed him. So you see this man with stringy blonde hair and blue eyes, and they say, this is Jesus. And you can say, nah. Is that your savior? Nah. But he died for your sins. Nah, not him. Not him. And you know, I had a dream once, but it's along these lines. I had a dream where I saw this man walk into a room. He was a black man, but he was dressed like he had like a gown on. And when he walked in the room, everybody stopped and looked. And he sat down and he had eyes that was real bright, like almost like blue, but it was bright and his skin was dark. You could almost see yourself in it. And I said to myself, that's Jesus. And a voice behind me said, no, it's not. And I realized who it was I was looking at and why he would fool everybody. See? So I said, wow. I mean, that blew me away because I said, wow, I would have bowed to him because that's what I thought Jesus was. He said, no, that's not him. That's not him. But that's the point. If they're worshiping a God that's not your God, that's a different God. That's a different God. That's why Jehovah's Witnesses won't pray with you. Because they believe that you're worshiping a different God. And they're right. But they believe their God is the true God. So they won't pray with you. When I first found out, they would sit there with their eyes open. They would not pray with you. Because they think they're serving the real God and you're serving the false one. But that's the attitude, though. You don't worship a false God.
Right.
Now, there are people that you and I know that are like us. Like, in other words, they're ignorant. They may be going to church on Sunday. They may be doing it, but they don't know no better. But you got to be patient, just like somebody was patient with you, right? You got to be patient with, but they are worshiping a different God. So you got to be careful. Maybe they'll come to the truth, maybe they won't, but you got to be careful. And be careful who you sharing your body with. Especially today, aside from the falsehoods, you know how many diseases are out here now? They got stuff I never, when I was a kid, it was just VD, it was gonorrhea and syphilis. Now they got stuff, I don't even know how to say it. I be like, whoa, what? And they say a whole bunch of people carrying this, not me. Not me and my wife, no, we not. But I'm just saying though, a lot of people catch it. So you got to be really careful out here. And you can't go by the facade of what they look like, because that don't mean that they could be cute, but they could be dirty. You got to be careful. Pray to the Most High. Yeah, you got to be careful. So fornication is sex with something that's not of your God. Or you're connecting with a religion that's not your God. And our fathers did that till we got to where we at right now, right? They worship false gods. That's how we at. And then while we were under their enslavement, they introduced us to new gods. That's why we got where we at. That's why Malcolm X is wondering from white Jesus right to Elijah Muhammad, not realizing he went from the frying pan to the fire, but he's thinking he's getting away from something, but he didn't realize it's the same thing. Right? He didn't realize until he saw what Elijah Muhammad was doing with the young girl, but he didn't know that. So all of this are examples to us. Be careful. Be careful. And listen, I ain't gonna lie, loneliness is a hard thing, man. It's not hard, but it's also a test. You gotta understand that it's a test. It's a hard thing. A lot of people get in trouble because they're lonely. Especially sisters, they get in trouble. You know, it's a natural thing. You used to being around people or with somebody, now you ain't got nobody. It's hard. But it's a test. The Most High will keep you. He'll keep you. And if it's his desire, this is the hardest prayer I ever did. If it's your desire, I'll be by myself, I'll be by myself. That was hard because I didn't want to be by myself. But I said, if that's what you want, I'll do it. I just want to be with him. So that's what you got to decide. You going to stick with him if you by yourself? On the night when your bed is empty, you going to still stick with him? Okay? And you're going to be having stuff coming at you. You're going to choose because you're lonely? You got to be careful. The devil knows how to exploit us. The Most High allows it to test us. You're going to stay strong? Okay, stay strong. Pray for the Most High to give you strength. And if you do have a partner you can trust, you are blessed. Because all of us know people that have partners they can't trust. You can be married to somebody and you can be alone. Is that right? Yes. You can be laying in the bed next to me and you be all by yourself. Even though they're there, they're not there. You understand? So trust the Most High. Trust his word. Pray to him. He's going to guide you. Don't fornicate. Okay? If somebody's worshiping your God, you're on your way to something, but that don't mean nothing either. They can still be crazy. Right? Yes. They can still be crazy. You better pray and let the Most High guide you in the path, especially you young people, man. When we came up, it was hard. It's harder for them. It's harder now. It's harder now. It's much harder when we was kids than it is now. They always say when we was kids, this and that, another thing, you know, it ain't like that. It's worse now. So you got your children, y'all got to be very careful what you dealing with because there's all kind of stuff out here. And most of y'all know it. Like you go to school, you see it, right? When we went to school, we saw stuff our parents didn't see, and we understood what they didn't understand because we see it. It's even worse now. It's going up several levels. So now we understand, or should I say going down several levels. So we understand it now. But the kids see it. They see what's going on. Okay. Now, Revelation 17 said the earth has committed fornication with her. So now this is a false god that they're getting in bed with. And it says the kings of the earth and the inhabitants of the earth. So the kings, that is the leaders of the rulers of the darkness of this world, are in bed with this false god, these false religions. Okay, so don't be surprised when they become Buddhist or Muslim or whatever. They're going to be in there because the Bible just showed us they're going to be. Okay, so we know that. Don't be surprised at that. So he now what? Verse 3, very important here. So he carried me away in the spirit where? Oh, so John was going to see this hole. But the hole wasn't just sitting in front of him. He had to go into the woods to find this harlot, right? So she's in the woods. She's in the wilderness. Okay, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast. So now he's being told, I'm going to show you this great whore, but I got to take you into the woods. Beware when a man tells you they got to take you in the woods, right? I'm going to take you in the woods. So now it tells you something about the harlot. She's in secret. She's hiding. That is why when you read 13, you see a beast, but you don't see nobody riding it because she's in secret. She's not being open about what she's doing, but she's ruling the earth from her position, which is why you see this Pope from Chicago. He's a nice looking man, nice little man with a little pat on his head. He's a devil. Be careful. But he wants everybody to think he's nice. The Bible is telling us it's the whore in the wilderness. And she had the scarlet colored beast. What's scarlet? What's the color of scarlet? It's red, right? Where did we see a red beast before? Revelation 12. Said, right? So here, this beast we know now, tell us in two places in Revelation, is red. And the red we saw was a dragon, but the second one, the dragon gave it power, see, and it ruled, but not by his own power. So it's a red dragon ruling this. Okay, now it's in the secret, and it's full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So it's full of names, and the reason is it's got 7 heads. So right, so it's not just one head; it's names. So this power is made up of a conglomeration of multiple powers. Now the Bible has shown us those powers. First one was Babylon. Second one was Greece. Then there was the Medes and the Persians, and finally the Romans. Now here's another question. Wait, they used to say that the sun never set on the British Empire. Where Britain at? Or what about the Chinese dynasties? What about the dynasties that was in India? Why y'all ignoring them? The difference is the Most High is highlighting the one that put their hands on us to get us off our land. Now, people have put their hands on us, but that's after we left the land. When we was on the land, the Babylonians came through, the Greeks came through, the Medes and the Persians came through, and finally the Romans came through. So they actually took us physically off our land and had us scattered. That's why these 4 are highlighted, okay? Because of what they did to us. Again, it's important to the Most High what you do to his people. So those 4 are highlighted because they put the first hands on us. As where you get that from? Where? I'm testing y'all because I'm trying to help you. Wait, what? Oh, that's true too. He ain't lying. That's Moses. Wait, what else? What else? That's right. That's the first thing Sister told me. She said, wait, what are 4 carpenters in Revelation? I said, no. She said, you sure? I went back and looked at it and said, hey, she's right. It is them. So it was the 4 winds. The angels holding the wind, the 4 carpenters, and then there was 4 carpenters and there was 4 horns. And one was the 4 powers that was scattering us. The other one was the answer to them, which was the four winds that the angel said, hold. Okay. So now we know why them four are picked out. After all, because there's been a lot of world powers. In fact, France was a world power. Spain, all these people, Germany, they all had their time. Of course, they were all European. But then look, in Africa, Timbuktu, Ghana, they had empires. The first library they found in what's now called Egypt. That's the first library they found. Okay, we have books, thousands of books there before they even knew what a book was. We had books. Okay, so we were wearing silk before they even knew you could make silk. See, so we've been before they discovered it though. But that's the way the game is now. So don't, we don't worry about that. That's why a lot of people say, we was there. They're trying to educate us as to where we come from. But we already know where we come from. That's the point, right? We don't need DNA to tell us who we are. The Bible says, let the redeemed of Yahweh say so. Okay. So this woman was in the wilderness. She had blasphemy. So she has 7 points of her heads. And all the points are telling us, worship her. Okay. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. What does that tell you about her? She's arrayed with purple and scarlet, decked with pearl. What did it say? Pearls. Right. She got money and power. She got money and power, right? So this ain't no poor woman. When the Messiah came, he was poor. Yeah. Now, isn't this interesting? You got Joel Epstein, who's a millionaire, representing the white Messiah, who came as a carpenter. That's contradiction, isn't it? Messiah could have been born any kind of way, but he was born in Nazareth. They said, can any good thing come out of Nazareth? Because he was born in the hood. But you know what I'm saying? He was born in the hood. But so when you see these preachers trying to represent him and saying, I need a plane, I need a new car, I need you to reach your, hey, here's the fourth time that plane coming around. Reach again in your pocket. See, do you know right now you're dealing with a pimp? Pimp don't leave the workers nothing. Girl, what you going out there and make me my money? That's what they care about. That's what you're dealing with. Where my money at? Exactly. Praise the Most High. Okay. All right. A girl was arrayed with these things, and then said she had a golden cup. So she had expensive cup in her hand, and the cup was full of abominations and filthiness. I won't go into detail. You can imagine. So she had this golden cup, and it was filled with stuff from her business. Okay, and she already told us her business. She commit fornication with kings, and from the scent, the wine, people was drunk. Okay, people was drunk. Okay, verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written. Now, where do we see forehead and names before? That's right. From what was the situation? So the Father marked his people in their forehead. Did we get any other prophets that had marks in their foreheads? Is that the first place you see a mark in somebody's forehead?
No.
Wait, what? Ezekiel what?
8.
You're close to that. 9, that's right. So 9, he put a mark on the forehead of those that were his. The rest he didn't put the mark on. So now you got this woman say her name is in her forehead, but this is a different woman. Remember now, this is a harlot. The woman that had the 12 stars, that's the one that put her mark on her people. What you see in Revelation 14, he said he was with 144,000 having his father's name in their forehead. So they both got names in their foreheads. One is from the pure woman, the other one's from the harlot. Now, this is the thing, though. Who can tell the difference? The Most High is the most important one that tells the difference, because he told the angel, mark the forehead. We can't see it. They can see it, though. It's the same with the mark of the beast. It's not going to be no tattoo when you can say, I got this tattoo, that's the mark of the beast. No, but the unseen can see it and know what you with and what you're not with. Okay, and you'll be sealed by that thing. And that's another, going back to this question. If somebody's going to be saved, can they be sealed with the wrong seal? That's a good question. And I can't answer it. But it's a good question. That's another thing. So that's something for us to remember and think about. But that's the thing. Okay, now, this woman, though, her forehead had a name. Mystery. That's right. Mystery, that's unknown, right? A mystery is unknown. So she's unknown. She's lit. You don't know what's on her mind. You don't know what she's thinking or what she's planning. Mystery. And she's in the wilderness. So she's not openly telling you what she's getting ready to do. Deceitful. So this is the thing, right? In the black community, Spanish community, we always knew stuff was happening, but we couldn't put our finger on what they was doing. So that's why, like Gil Scott-Heron said, the revolution will not be televised. Why did he say that? Because they own the television. It ain't gonna be on their television. The revolution is not gonna be on there. They own the radio. They own the newspaper. That's why they could make or break a hero or crush a hero or make you whatever they want to with the media. So it's mystery. You know they up to something. You just don't know what it is. Well, the Bible shows what it is. It shows what it is. So we know they up to something. Then Babylon the Great. What is Babylon the Great? What do you see? It's confusion. What else? Where's the first time you know Babylon's confusion? Babel, that's right. Babylon comes from the word Babel. Babel is confusion because they got their languages confused. So now everything that's confusion, like a white Jesus that's poor versus a white Jesus man that's rich, is confusion. Or you have a medical system that got a snake wrapped around a stick, and that's supposed to make you healthy. Right? There's a lot of confusion in the earth, right? But that's Babylon. So she's into confusion. She's in the wilderness, but she's a mama. So we're the mama too. She the same mama as us. Why? What does it say about her? She's not the mama of the man child. She's the mama of other harlots. Ooh. So I always say, okay, you walk in the house in Las Vegas. There's this woman that meets you, right? What you want? I want a blonde. Call so-and-so in room 10. I want a redhead. Call so-and-so. I want a light skin. Call so-and-so. So she's the madam, and she got a house full with her girls. So the Catholic is the madam, and all these other churches are her girls, because she's the mama of harlots. There's no Protestant church that did not begin as a Catholic church. Every Protestant church that you know started by some situation that used to be Catholic. William Tyndale was a Catholic priest. And the leader, John Knox, was a Catholic priest. The leader of the Baptists was a Catholic priest. Martin Luther was a Catholic priest. So these are men that left their church, but they started in the Catholic church. So their harlots have a mama. Where did we start? We started with Abraham. That was the founder of our religion. That's the religion. That's the founder of our nation, Abraham. Where did they start? With Rome. That's how they start. So now we started with the pure woman. They started with a harlot. And she's slick because you don't even know what she's doing. Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Now, when you read about Solomon, the Bible says he worshiped abominations. What was that? What's abomination? I'll give you a hint. It's the same word like fornication. So what's abomination? Blasphemy. It's a false god. So he said he worshiped Chemosh, the abomination of this group. He worshiped this one, the abomination. He worshiped Ishtar. So the abominations are false god. So she's the mother of harlots and abominations in the earth. So now you can see anything that's not Christianity, tell me if I'm wrong, is controlled by Christianity. Okay, so some people think the Jews are the ones that control. No. They have the money part, but they're under the control of the same Vatican. You Muslims, they have whatever part they have, but they still, that's why you still seeing them getting bombed by Christian countries. And the Christians here only wanted to deal with Palestine because they heard Christians were getting killed. When they first thought all the Palestinians were Muslims, they didn't care. But when they heard Christians were getting killed, that's when people started standing up, oh, something wrong. See, they only care. He said he bombed Nigeria because Muslims were persecuting Christians. So Christianity is the controlling power. Europeans are mostly Christians. You got Europeans that are Muslim now, but mostly Christians. Mostly Christians. So they're controlling, like I said, all the aspects of society, but they're only controlling it, as the Messiah told Pilate, you can only have powers given you from above. until it's taken away. And we know the Bible said their time is coming to an end, right? So they control for a little while until they don't have it no more, until they're not. And we know that their time, they don't understand. Heathen always think their kingdom will last forever. They always think that. They never assume that the United States is just another kingdom that can fold. They think we're going to last forever. I don't know why they think that. It never happened before, but they think that. That's what they think. So when you're talking to them, they're going to give you the impression, this is, of course, it's going to continue forever. And of course, God is white. Everybody knows that. Right? Everybody knows that. But, but I'm saying that's the assumption. The Bible said, though, it must continue for a short space. We're in that short space right now. We're in there. Any questions? I'm going to stop here and give us a break before we come back. I wanted to, as usual, go into the background of what we got. Let's get into chapter 17. So we can go into chapter 17. We're going to see a lot of more. What you said, I'm going to show them the other stuff. A lot of more. So I just wanted to get us set up so we can go through that. But that's the beginning, okay? So there should be chicken next door. Sister Brian?
Somebody just said they forgot one thing.
Oh.
They're going back.
To the restaurant?
Yeah, it's going back to the one here, closer to here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they forgot one thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got time.
Okay. Well, no, I don't know. We've been doing this hour and a half now. I don't like to give them too much. We'll continue. Y'all got to eat. I'm not hungry, but y'all got to eat. I got food. It's the word, but I'm not real hungry.